Welcome back, you guys, to the channel. I'm not sure if life can get much better for me at the moment. From 5:30 to 9:30, there was an absolute beautiful piece of a beautiful masterpiece, I like to say, and with a couple of really good plays for me in that middle game, and then the Cowboys winning in an absolute thriller there at the end. So, don't know if you'll be able to wipe the smile off my face in this one, but we'll start with our Knights and our Raiders, and obviously one of our great plays in the majority of our teams there with Jaden Brayley picking up a 74. Got a try in there to finish off the game and ice off the win for the Knights with 51 tackles, a turnover tackle, bits and pieces from there. But still been incredible across this season. And he's, after that score, he'll be up very close to 800k and push him up towards 400k of price rises. So if you started with him, then you've done a great job. And if you've picked him up over the last few weeks, he keeps delivering, which is awesome. Moving on to Frizz, and he gets a 71 with the try as well, and he's been amazing this year, far exceeding what we would have hoped from him. He was someone that averaged in the high 50s last year, and he'll be getting close to that 800k mark over the next bunch of weeks with those types of scores, and he will be playing Origin, so I think he'd be a cool target either round 14 or round 19 or 18 or 19 there, as he will be one of the top edges. You imagine you've got Tohu, Fafita, Frizz, Crichton, that's kind of like your four. So, with the edge position needing at least two guns, and he's probably a good chance of getting into your squad, I would imagine. Kalen Ponga, and he was one that actually was on a very, very low score for a long time, and then picked up a try assist in that last little period there, which helped them win, which was great. But then anyone who picked him up over the last few weeks would have been really scared, but he ended up with 66. So, really happy with that. Good to see the Knights winning. Not so good to see the Raiders really, really struggling, but it was a very, very important game for both these clubs. So, good game overall, and nice to see the Knights come away with it after sort of struggling a little bit. Papali'i was 63 in 43 minutes, so incredible work. Picked up a line break, 6 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, so awesome work for him. If you're still owning him, I think there'll be a few people that still do. But in the grand scheme, he's lost a decent amount of cash, and he could be someone that we think about later on in the year. Tommy Starling, a lot of people are talking about. It's still crazy how good he's been averaging the last 3 games. I think it's just about a 60 average. He's still priced at 420 and down 258k. So we completely know what he can do. I imagine Hodgson's going to be back next week. Well, was the prognosis was about 3 weeks. So Starling will either move back to the bench or out of the side completely. So be wary of that if you're looking to pick him up going forward. Jordan Rapana with a 55. So this is getting back to a little bit of the work that he was doing in those first few games of the year, where it was just getting good meters gain, getting some tackle breaks. This has got obviously a line break and a try assist there, which is good for him. So to not have a try in there is really strong, and getting a 55. And he's been a solid option for whoever has him. I've got him in the alternates at the moment. He's doing a good job. So averaging 48 for a centre wing fullback, you take that every day of the week. So good stuff for him. He's kind of been flying out under the radar the last bunch of weeks as well. We moved to Clem, and he was someone that we spoke about this week as being a potential option in the People's squad, but just in People's teams in general, as he's gone down to 595k. So getting 52 in his 51 minutes, it was really good to see the amount of meters he made this week at 205. So much better, much more of what we'd expect for him. Still only 3 tackle breaks and an offload. So the attacking stats aren't exactly there yet, and I imagine if he was able to keep up that base of that 45, 47 base, then we might be able to see him get a bunch more scores in the 50s and 60s going forward. So definitely on my radar as a front row forward or mid to pick up in your squad. Georgie Williams for 51, not someone that many people have. I talked up Kurt Mann this week, and he literally ran the ball like twice at the end of the game, which was strange. So just wasn't on a high score for a good portion of that game, but good to see that, even without playing well and no attacking stats, he still picks up a 48, and I expect him to average 55, and I don't even think he had a very good game at all. So 48 is strong. Expect some bigger scores coming down the track, and probably a good thing that if you didn't pick him up this week, that he gets 48, so his price doesn't go too high, which we'll talk about with a couple other guys that went up a bit high, like that scored too high for what we wanted, like Madison and stuff, but. Crossed him with 48, and he was on like 30 odd very early, so Kurt Mann caught up to him there, which is good. But he's really cheap. My issue as to why I didn't really talk about him, because I think he'll only get the 4 weeks, and then you have to trade him out. And that 4 weeks would have been 9, 10, 11, 12. So Blake Green coming back for round 13 when you'd really want Crossland. So pain in the ass. That's why I didn't talk about him too much, because just for that reason there. And I don't think he's worth it as a 3 to 4 week play. You're probably only making 100k or so, and that trade I think is too valuable at this stage to then get him out or have a non-player in round 13. He might play on the bench, for example, but that's not enough. Hudson Young with 47, Barnett with 46. So moving to the middle this time with Fitzgibbon coming back, and Fitzy played a big game. Was he almost full game? 65 minutes. So Barnett in the middle, obviously good PPM, but the minutes is a bit of a worry. If he can get sort of 50 to 60 in the middle, then he's going to be a 50-odd point scorer. But I think it's worth waiting a couple of weeks with him and seeing what happens before Origin period as to if he's going to get somewhere in that 50 to 60. Because 44 is not enough if we're going to pick him up as a 56, 57 point scorer. So keep that in mind. CHN, Corey Harawira at Naira with 46 in his 80 minutes. So much better, but just not running the ball, 47 meters. So if you can get that up, he ran for 47 meters. We've got 2 tackle breaks and offloads. So if he gets that up to 80, 100, then I think you're going to be in business and getting a bunch of 50s and 60s like he has in the past when he was playing for the Dogs, etc. So keep that in mind. But that was a decent score at his price point there. Simonson with a big one. Look at him go, 46 with a try, a line break, 4 tackle breaks. Just did everything pretty well in this game, which was good. Horsburgh 45. Again, just keep an eye on him as his price stabilizes or drops slightly. If he can get some bigger minutes, then it'll be sweet. Connor Watson with a nice PPM there, but only 40 minutes, which was really concerning. So him and Barnett were the 2 worries in this game. They kind of split the minutes, really. 44 and 40 for the 80 minutes in total. So actually, that's exactly what happened, because Watson came on for 3 or 4 minutes at the end when who went off? Crossland? One of the winger, Musgrove. Musgrove had to go off at the end of the game, and he came on for that. So yeah, they split the time there. So if that's the same going forward, I think that's really dangerous for both players in general. But good to see he can still get 43, even with 4 missed tackles there. Got a nice try assist, but yeah, not someone to be trading out. Definitely, at least holding until 13. Even if he does average sort of 40 over the next bunch of weeks, he's not going to lose too much cash. He's at 607, so not too much to worry about. Aikens with 37, just keeps scoring well. I'm pretty happy with how he's gone. Not that that's helped me last year, which is all I cared about. Fitzgibbon comes back, 34, nothing to talk about yet. He's going to drop some cash. It could be interesting come round 13 if he gets back to a big minute role and is feeling good, for example. Musgrove -5, so that's wow. I haven't seen a -5 in a while without any big demerits in like sin bins or anything like that. But the only one to really talk about there is Sutton getting injured, so that hurt them a lot and hurt any of his owners. So we'll see what happens over during the week with him. Hopefully he's okay, but I think it was elbow related. I haven't seen anything since, so we'll find out with that. And if he's back straight away, you definitely want to keep him. If he's out for an extended period of time, obviously you'd move him on with Raiders having a bye in 13. And last one is Bradman Best. I got a try saver and still got 21, so just didn't get as much early ball as you would have hoped. For example, 88 meters, no tackle breaks, and a couple of offloads. So not too much happening there for Best. And again, probably good if you don't own him, that you can get him a bit cheaper come around 13. But I'd like to see a form turnaround from the Knights before doing that, for example. All right, here we are. The most exciting game of the round so far in terms of my fantasy scores, because my big boy, Adam Dewey, the biggest trade-in target of the week, picks up 103, doing absolutely everything. So him and Fogg sitting at around anywhere between 2 and 3% ownership between the both of them, and I thankfully own both. So that's what I was talking about, that the video yesterday around Joey Manu and these types of players and Opacek that are the lower ownership kind of players. They're really, really important for your week to where you rank in the week and how you score. So in comparison to everyone else, obviously. So this one's going to help me big time this week, which is great. But yeah, I think Dewey, amazing. If you can get someone that fills a stat sheet like this and they're in the fullback position, it's absolute gold, because you're really happy with anything over 50 as an average as a fullback. And to get him at 608k, obviously he's going to be like 650, 660 or whatever after this week. But awesome. I think he's getting better and better as a player every week. Let me know what you guys think on Dewey there. And I think that was the big draw card for me, is that he's obviously kicking goals, but he's just improving week to week. And he's only been playing, I think this is his fifth or sixth game of the year now. But yeah, 160 meters gain for a big, strong 6. You're going to get the tackle breaks and offloads. And he didn't even get that many, but he's in everything. He dummies and goes through and scores a try. Almost got a second one. About 5 minutes before he got the last one there, the try at the end. So amazing work from him. And I suppose that's all I need to say about Dewey is I think he's a really good option, obviously, as to why I picked him up. And I hope a few people took up that advice. Fafita was 76 and a sin bin. So pretty cool that he was on 83. It was right at the end of the game, but a really strong score. He was just bumping Simkin off and Mbai and whoever else was out there, just absolutely smashing them, and they just fall on their ass. So he's incredible. But picked up a try saver as well to go along with his 8 tackle breaks and 5 offloads. Good to see him get 29 tackles, which was good. But yeah, a good captaincy option. I had him captain in the alternate, so that was good. Nofaluma was a really strong game for him. So again, someone we got to have a look at. 500k now. He'll be a little bit higher after this, but he's going to be looking really juicy coming into round 13. Fogs has been a good option for a lot of people. I'm just marveling at how good his goal kicking is at the moment. Just absolutely straight as an arrow. That extra 2 points in there when he doesn't have to do too much is being great. So you can see the trend here is the goal kickers in most teams seem to do a lot better than the rest of the guys. Obviously, they're just those sneaky extra 8 to 10 points, especially when a lot of teams are scoring 5, 6, 7 tries a game now. They're really, really beneficial for you. But only one try assist and a sneaky line break there, which was good. 20 tackles for 4 misses we take if you're giving 60 meters gain and 450 kick meters. So awesome work for Fogg, 69 there. He's got a season average of 51 now, and that's 3 games in a row of really nice consistency, which is good. So great option going forward if you need a half, along with Moses and all those guys we've been talking about already. All right, Lucy Leilua with a 57. So back to that, and I think this is just where he's going to sit all year. 4 offloads, a couple of tackle breaks, not running the ball as much as I would have hoped, but to still get 57 when you're doing that, you take that every day of the week. All right, AJ, really happy with his performance again without really any attacking stats. The 1 line break and the try assist. Got a turnover tackle, but only 2 tackle breaks and still getting 46. You take that every day from a guy that's 522k. Still a great option. Just be worried that he might end up on the bench or in 18th man, or if there's an injury, he might play Origin. So just keep that in mind. But still a great option going forward. Lukey Brooks with 41. So if you're still holding him, you take the big 70 odd or whatever it was last week into a 41, and he's still averaging 51 for the season. So you're just riding the ups and downs, like we were with Foggs earlier in the year. Now Brooks is kind of like that, but Foggs at least has the majority of kick meters and kicks goals and stuff, whereas Brooks is relying on a lot of his running game and try assists to get his points. So I still think you can hold him until 13. I can understand why people are wanting to get rid of him, like they want to get rid of Jerome Luai, for example. But that's that. Tyrone with 39. So to get a try and a try assist and still get 39 is a bit concerning, but that's partly to do with how many minutes he's getting. So 42 is a bit interesting. With Tino coming back, I don't know if that did anything to his scoring, but to only get 42 minutes, you're hoping for at least 50 with him. But again, 39 when you got Manu and a lot of the centers not doing as well, for example, then you take 39 and run with it. Not much more to say about Peach. I still think he's a great option. Oh, here we go. Alex Twal, 49 minutes for 38. So PPM was down, no real attacking stats, which is pretty normal for him. Why does he get 49 minutes? That's my question. I suppose, he's just such a worry now, like just averaging under 50. Again, I'd probably be holding him until 13 and moving him on because I don't think he's a keeper anymore. He's not going to get 38 every week. He'll be back closer to 50, but that's very painful. Kelly with 38, solid again, but without being a world beater in that center position. Offhang Yowie 38, it's okay. Simkin 38 with a try and a line break. So 3 tackle breaks, 3 missed tackles and 2 errors, which a bit of a Achilles heel for him. No real run meters apart from his try. 50 minutes was kind of his lowest of the year, but to get 38, you'll cop that and that slow price rise. But I'd still be wary of playing him every week because he would have got somewhere in the 20s, the low 20s this week in that 50 minutes if he didn't score. So keep that in mind going forward and just ride his price rises from here still. And he's probably a move on after round 13, I imagine for sure. Joey Leilua, so got a nice try and then kind of didn't do anything for the rest of the game. So we spoke about him as being one of those silly options that's gotten real cheap and has the pedigree in the past, but yeah, he's just too crazy. That's all we got to say. Tino with 35 and 58 minutes. It's funny that he just doesn't get the attacking stats because he really should. When he was with the Storm, he had attacking stats for fun. Now he doesn't. Now he's not that type of player, which is strange. Obviously, maybe that's the Storm system, but yeah, it is what it is. Oitoi Kamanu with 34 minutes for 28 points. So looks like watching him had a solid game, but just the minutes aren't enough when you're looking at close to a PPM of 1. I thankfully didn't decide not to play him, and had him in the number 5 position and played Simkin over him, so I got an extra 10 points. But then playing Alvaro for my squad, so that's kind of what you could have done with the loop there. I had Hampton, for example, that I ended up having him ready to go if he needed to go into the 4 position to take Stefano's points if he did well. He did not, so I moved him back down and put Alvaro up. So does that make sense? I hope it does for anyone that's still asking me about that. Dave Laurie with 26. Yeah, just a bit of a nothing game. 120 meters, 2 tackle breaks. So again, got to have the ups and the downs with these kind of guys. He's obviously had a 17, a 26, and like a 70 now. So keep him in mind. I think he's definitely a move on after 13. He's not going to average close to 50. I don't think it might be at that 40 to 45, kind of where he's at the moment. And then I suppose the big one to talk about is Mr. Zaxini, and he looked terrible under the high ball, didn't he? I'm glad that he got a really, really nice debut, but that would be one to forget, that one last night, unfortunately. And this is the majority of our cash cows this year have been in the forwards, in the hooker position, and these ones are so much safer than these centers and wing fullbacks. That's where, if you've ever heard someone talk about like your wing fullback or your playing center or wing fullback roulette, this is what happens. You go, oh yep, a guy has a decent game, or a guy's about to make his debut, and we pick him up. Or they do exactly what happened with Sini last week, and he plays really well, and then everyone picks him up, and then you get a low score, a James Roberts type score, and then you're down in the dumps, and you're like, oh shit, how do I get rid of him now? Like literally in and out. What did someone say? One of the Facebook groups was Sini's score makes James Roberts look like God. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, see, what can we do? -1. He can't play that bad again, but he may get dropped because that wasn't good enough, and especially with them losing, for example. But yeah, this one here, I mainly just want to talk about how good the Cowboys were, because 4 wins in 5 games. Obviously, it's against the Broncos, and we can't talk too much about that. But great to see them finish and win the game, and that final set, I liked that they obviously ran onto the ball hard, but then drifted off to the side and ran hard at an angle there. And that kind of allowed them to get a quick play the ball as they were getting tackled from the side, allowed them to get on their front, quick play the ball and go. And that last one from Hess, where he did the same thing, he ran the line and then quick step to get tackled on the side, quick play the ball, and they almost bottled it, really. That whole set was perfect until they passed it to Clifford and they went all overshot. But yeah, ended up being great with Holmes kicking the field goal for the boys. And we look up top in the scores, and we've got our 2 big dogs that are up the top there with Taumalolo with 84 and Haas with 76. So both playing big minutes. It's good to see Jace play 71, back to normal kind of thing. That's 60 to 70 minutes, and did everything and got a try at the end, which is great. So maybe we don't see him lose as much money as we thought. He should, like at 84, his break even was that high, so he's going to at least hold steady over the next few weeks. But again, a perfect option to think about in round 14, because these are the games he has. He'll get the 55 and then he'll get the 80 or 90 with the odd try. He doesn't score that many, but in terms of his tackle busts and offloads, get really high, along with his 200, 250 meters. So good to see that with him. And if you picked up Payne Haas, you're really, really happy. And he's so good to watch, man. He's an absolute animal. So big. 44 tackles and 160 meters makes 60 in base. So there you go. 60 in base in 62 minutes with your tackle break. So awesome work for Payne. Clifford actually had a pretty good game with 61. I wouldn't be thinking about picking him up. As you see, he already lost 85k when he was playing in the starting side before this. So yeah, I wouldn't be looking to pick him up after one good game. Flegler with 56, which was cool. Very interesting one, as he's lost a lot of money. Look at him there at 345. He'll obviously be above that, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him over the Origin period. You could almost see him as half a cash cow, because he obviously ended the year in a 570k mark there. So yeah, scoring really well. And if he can get that type of scoring back, then he could be an interesting one around round 13 to make some cash over that period and move him on. But yeah, think about that later. All right, Herbie. Herbie did well again. 230 meters, 6 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 55 points, and averaging just under 40. So a couple of lower games in there, and people were, well, I certainly would have been stressed about him if I was thinking about owning him. But that's him there, doing well. Half a chance of a pickup. Weird price though, it'd be like 460 after this week, 470. So that's that. Matty Lodge with 54. So well done to him. Just going to be up and down. He'll get 54. He'll get 30. His price rises won't. He'll just keep sitting around that 40 average or 37 average and not do too much. So that's what you got to think about with Lodge. If you played him this week, then awesome. Pangai, another one of those guys. If he gets 80 minutes, he'll just accumulate the points, and I'm impressed with him in that sense. Is he wasn't scoring that well, kind of on 20 at halftime, and not doing a lot. Just didn't run the ball as much. Still gets that random turnover tackle with a strip or whatever. 3 tackle breaks, couple offloads, 36 tackles. He's just gonna get 50 really easily. So if he can keep that role, I think he's going to be a great option for anyone's side at 711k, averaging somewhere in the mid 50s. Now this one's annoying. What the hell is going on here? I played Turpin last week. I hold the faith, keep the faith. 23 in 50 odd minutes. He was on 23 in about 25 minutes last night. And then he plays the full 80. What the hell? So annoyed. Anyway, so I said I was going to be smiling for the rest of this, but this one got me annoyed. 53 in his 80 minutes. So if you held on to him, awesome, but pain in the ass if you traded him out. And they're like, oh, we'll give him 80 minutes now. And we worked out Danny Levi's not that good of a player. Oh. Anyway. Oh, we got to talk about this one. Kyle Felt's try at the start. That was incredible. How the hell did they not have the ball wrapped up? And he just sneaks his arm out from the top, like out of the grave, and then finds the line. That was a special try. If you held on to Ricky, 46 in the 80 minutes, so much better for him. But I imagine a lot of people might have moved him on. I see a couple of people picked up Jesse Arthurs, and he's actually a solid player, to be fair. But has an average of 40 over his first 2 games, so well done to him. Coates with 44. Yeah, solid. Decent try as well, up top. Holmes with 44, just doing a bit of everything again. Going to be that sort of just middle of the rung fullback, averaging, I think he's going to average exactly what he is right now for the rest of the year. Cowboys obviously winning at the moment too, so that's helpful. But for him to still be averaging 46, it's okay. Ticey Gamble. So a lot of people asking me about him, and my worries weren't about him scoring well. My worries about him keeping his spot, and they did lose again when they probably shouldn't have. But I think he controlled the game pretty well. And 32 tackles, got the try assist, line breaks. He didn't kick too much, like 150 meters. You wouldn't say he got to do too much, but you're happy with his 44 if you picked him up. And it'll be interesting to see if he keeps his spot going forward. Because if he does, he's got to make some cash. Alrighty. Milford with 39. I saw someone mucking around looking to trade Cleary to Milford after his 60 last week. Cleary 60, so that's funny. Carrigan with 31 minutes. What is happening in this? He's going to be so cheap soon. It's going to be so interesting going forward if he can pick up some form again. Drinkwater with a low of 25. So Clifford kind of took over this game. Drinkwater with 1 try, which was good. Sarko with 25. I would have expected a lot more from him in this game. I had a same game multi with him as a try scorer, which didn't work out. But yeah, I think he's still holding with the Sarko. Hold to around 13 and move him on from there. Anyone else in the team? Condon. Yeah, there you go. There you go, guys. Shows why you shouldn't pick up these types of edge forwards. We got to see 1 game of him, and we didn't like his PPM, and that means his work rate's not that great, which means coach is probably like, bro, what are you doing? Which means he moves back to the bench, and then he scores bad. So there you go. There's a cycle. And Danny Levi with 2. There you go, guys. That's the 3 games for Saturday night. Obviously, a really happy night for me in terms of my scoring. I think I'm 770 odd with 4 to go. So sitting at around a 400 rank at the moment, and it'd be nice to be able to hold around that top 500 after today, which I know a lot of people would have sort of 4 to 6 players left maybe today. So with the McCullochs and Birds and all these types of guys. So Averillo. But yeah, that's the 3 games. Hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all your support, and we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Have a good Mother's Day. See ya.